Hello guys, this is Don's Movies, and welcome to the World of Warcraft lore Q&A number 62. The question for today's video is by Grunt, and he asks: go to the Lost Veil of Anzu and tell me what it means. Are we going to see an old god, or am I just crazy to see all the connections? Okay, so this is a really interesting question and something I actually planned on addressing before, so it is really good you asked this question. Now, I am completely aware that a lot of people won't agree with me and this thing might be something completely different, but this is just a speculation video. People like to argue on speculation videos all the time, but it isn't like a fact, like a lore lesson video. This is just a speculation. I am just going to present you some proof that we have and just sort of make like a tinfoil hat theory out of it, so just please don't take it too seriously like I know a lot of people do. So this really isn't anything new, we have known this for a long time. We know that the old gods aren't from Azeroth. I even believe that is a fact, and that they're all over the universe. We don't really know if they're from some other planet or are a species like the Titan just evil, or we don't even know how many worlds they're on, and we don't even know their quantity. They could be in millions, they could be like 5 on each planet or something like that, but we do have some hints that they exist and have existed before this expansion, so that is what I'm going to present you in this video. So the first one, and probably the oldest hint, is from the Burning Crusade and the small Arakkoa cult trying to summon an old god, although later on failing. And of course the Arakkoa are not from Azeroth, and plus their history is kinda dark and mysterious as well. We don't really know that much, and we know that they have these primal gods that are like Loas, so it wouldn't be really surprising for them to worship something like an old god, because they're pretty dark figures, let's be honest, and they did it in order to combat the Orcish rampage, and they pretty much combated evil by summoning something way more evil. And the summon old god actually used the cartoon model, meaning that if Blizzard cared, they might have made something else, it might have looked different, but I still think this is quite a big link that connects the old gods to the world of Draenor. Although this hint is more of an Outland thing, and a lot of this stuff actually happened after Draenor was destroyed, but still Outland was once Draenor, so there is quite a big connection. Now that is from the old speculations, but we have the new ones, and we have a lot more new information and all these tiny bits and pieces, and the Arakkoa are still the main link here, but you have to remember that this is an altered universe, so a lot of things are changed, and the Arakkoa especially are quite different. They aren't what they are in the actual universe. I mean, they still look the same, but they have some of the different lore and the history. So, as you asked in the question, the biggest hint is the Lost Veil of Anzu, and it is not actually marked on the map if you haven't seen it, but it's between the Spiders of Arakkoa and the Shermon Valley, so like the little mushroom thing, and it is like the weirdest thing once you go there. It really is sort of like a weird situation. You have the ogres that are searching for artifacts, and if you actually watch my Heimel video, you would know that the ogres are looking to increase their power, searching for all sorts of magical sources such as the Titanic artifacts that we have hints of, and also some of the Apexis civilization lost artifacts. And then you have some of the Arakkoa in this strange little chamber in the cave, which really looks something like you can find in Oldham or maybe even Uldar, and it has like these strange pyramid symbol, and the Skyreach archaeologist trying to search for something. We don't really know exactly what they're searching for. Now another giveaway would be the mad goblins that you can find there that are fighting each other, but the biggest giveaway is a minion called Amorphic Cognitor that you can see hovering around in like these little groups. And the Amorphic Cognitor is an old god minion, and we have actually seen it before since the Cataclysm expansion, and in my opinion I think it is like the biggest hint of the old god minions on a different world, because if you have the old god minions, it would kinda mean that you have the old god summon on the world. And this minion, as I said, we have seen him on Azeroth, and he was used in a form of an NPC called the Merciless One, which had the power to mind control and kinda jump on someone's head and just enslave him. So these little cognitors, or the Merciless Ones, are actually closely related to the Faceless Ones, which are a really mysterious race on Azeroth, and the Faceless Ones are closely related to the Old Gods. Now, as much as this sounds like a lot of proof, it could just be the fact that Blizzard has been lazy to just add a new model, and I mean, this model has actually been used as an octopus near Darnassus, I believe, but that still doesn't really disprove this theory, because maybe the octopuses on Azeroth are related to the old gods in a way, because we don't really know the origin for the most races on Azeroth. We only know of a few of them, and that still isn't completely confirmed. We always get these different like speculations and different theories, so maybe these creatures on Azeroth that have been used as octopuses, maybe they're somehow related to the old gods as well. That is why they will use later on. And the last proof I would say would be the pale orcs, which you can also find in the Lost Veil of Anzu, and I actually made a video on them before if you don't really know what these pale orcs are, so you can check that out. But pretty much they were corrupted by the void and the end of the Naru life cycles, so the Naru pretty much turned into the void gods and they kinda draw them closer. But even though we know that the pale are related to the Naru, we also know that they always mention the god of the abyss, and Cho'Gall mentions the god of the abyss, also the Arakkoa have mentioned them, and we even have some proof that some of the primal gods, which are kinda similar to the Loa on the world of Azeroth, such as Rukmar or Anzu or Set, I believe he's pronounced as Set, he had something to do with the gods of the abyss, so that might be kind of a big hint as well. Of course, that doesn't mean that if they mention a god that it has to be an old god, but it could be possible since, you know, they could be floating all around the universe and maybe they corrupted other worlds as well. But as I said, all this stuff is speculation, and at this point it might change, Blizzard might have something else in mind, but do feel free to leave your own suggestions and opinions on this if you think the old gods are actually in the world of Draenor and if they actually had something to do with the Arakkoa and the entire thing. Also, don't forget to leave your questions below for the next Q&A, this edited one and also the big podcasty one, and also to leave your suggestions on what types of videos you would like to see in the future. And also, if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not subscribed already, as it really helps out the channel and keeps all these videos going. And thanks a lot for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and see you next time.